Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast of Food Theory with Tejaswi Yerabati. In this podcast, we will be discussing about our favorite beverage every day in the morning. So I insist that you go grab your cup of coffee because we are going to discuss about coffee in this podcast. Coffee refers to this Arabic word called khawa, which means it's a type of wine which is used when you're having hunger problems. And then when it later went to Dutch, it became coffee with a K, and now all over the world it is known as coffee with a C. So that's the etymology. Let's go to the history and the origin of coffee. So for the history, we have to go to the 9th century of Ethiopia, where a goat herd named Kaldi was with his goats one day. He saw his goats eating some kind of reddish pink color fruits, and after eating those fruits, his goats were very much energetic, and he observed that, and he took those fruits to an Islamic monk. He showed it to them, and the Islamic monk was like, there's nothing serious about it, and he threw them away into a fire. And later on, while they were in the fire, there was this beautiful smell, aroma which was coming out from that fire. So this goat herd took all those fruits, made a paste, boiled them, and that is considered as the first cup of coffee ever made. So this was one legend. And there is another story of Sheikh Omar of Yemen, who is known for curing sick people. So one day he was exiled from Yemen. He went to a cave. He was living in a cave outside of Yemen, and he was feeling very hungry when he was in that cave. So he saw some fruits there, and he tried to eat those fruits. Those fruits were a bit sweet in the beginning, but the aftertaste was very bitter. So what he did was he threw them in the fire, planning to roast them and thinking that the roasting might enhance the flavors of sweetness. After roasting, they became hard, dark in color and hard. But there was smell. The aroma was amazing. So what he did, he boiled some water, put those fruits in that water, and he drank that liquid which was left over after boiling the fruits. And he was feeling very revitalized and energetic. He thought it was some miracle drug and went back to Yemen, told people that I found a miracle drug and I feel energetic now, and from then he was considered as a saint. These are two legends which depicts the origins of first ever coffee and how the coffee was originated in the world. Let's get back to the India part of it. How did it reach India? Well, we have to thank Baba Budan. He is on a Hajj pilgrimage in 16th century, where he came across this beverage where every pilgrim was drinking while coming back from Hajj or going to Hajj. And he saw that, and he wanted to buy those coffee beans or coffee seeds. So he asked for those coffee seeds, and they were giving only the roasted ones because Yemen people didn't want it to give those seeds, so that they want people to come to them for coffee rather than giving them seeds and grow their own coffee in the world. So what this Baba Budan did was he took 7 seeds of coffee and he wrapped them around the belly and came back to India. And he planted these seeds in the Karnataka state of India, in the Chikmagalur district. These hills are now famous as Baba Budan Hills in Chikmagalur, Karnataka. That is how we got it in India. That is how we are enjoying the coffee in everyday lives. So let's get to the types of coffee that is famous in India or all around the world. There are essentially 4 types of coffee: Arabica, Robusta, Liberica and Excelsa. But the most famous ones are Arabica and Robusta. Let's discuss about those two. Arabica is known to have less caffeine and superior taste. It's more fruity and chocolatey and sugary. The Baba Budan brought these seeds from Yemen in 16th century. That's why they get this name called Arabica. And the problem with these seeds are these are very expensive because of a problem that happens while these plants are growing. They're easily prone to a disease called coffee rust. And this makes them more expensive or more rare to find, whereas Robusta is bitter in taste and has more caffeine but it has natural antioxidants which make them immune to this coffee rust. Usually when most of the brands, what they do in order to maintain this balance, they mix Arabica and Robusta together to give the proper balance of bitter taste and fruitiness, and to even play with the price ranges in the market, in the grocery store. Arabica is usually the most expensive and known to have a lesser shelf life when compared to Robusta. Every brand that makes coffee have their own balances of Arabica and Robusta, and or even chicory. Chicory is a herb which is used, which has a coffee-like taste but doesn't have caffeine. So what they usually do is they mix Arabica with chicory or Robusta with chicory in order to maintain the caffeine levels so that it's not harsh on the consumers. The most famous coffees in India are from Coorg in Karnataka. Then Kerala have their own version of coffee. Yarkad and Kodaikanal of Tamil Nadu have their own versions of coffee, and Chikmagalur, of course, the Baba Budan Hills, is the 100% Arabica variety, which is famous all around the world. In fact, there is a restaurant in Coimbatore called Sri Annapurna who have mastered their blend of coffees and famous. They've been operating from 1960 and then still going strong with their perfect amount of coffee blend. There is another place where we get our coffees in India, and that is from Araku Valley. Araku coffee is organic and it is produced by Girijan farmers, but we don't know much about that place because it's remote, it's away, and there is no commercial success in terms of getting those coffee beans to the everyday world or to the grocery stores. So I insist you try to find those coffee beans from Araku. It is produced by organic farmers, and it even won an award, an Epicurean award in Paris. So try to find those coffee beans. That brings to the coffee tips. So while we are making coffee, one thing to remember is not to boil the water or pour boiling water over your coffee beans or powdered coffee. What happens is when you pour hot liquid over this coffee, the brewing duration will reduce and you might get the concoction really quick but with lesser intensity. So I insist that you boil your water first and let it reduce the temperature to 95 to 90 C, and then you pour your water over your powdered coffee and let it take time in terms of dripping, the concoction drip into your vessel. That is number one. For those all coffee enthusiasts and who loves their coffee and who want to explore all terms of coffee in their life, I insist that you buy coffee seeds. Buying coffee seeds and grinding them fresh every time you use is like a very good habit, and it gives you an immense burst of flavors. If you explore coffee beans rather than sticking to the brands which you love, which you've been loving all your life, exploring coffee beans and buying them and grinding them in your home and making it with your own experiments is much more fun. Third tip is we should not boil our milk or rolling boil our milk for longer time, and this breaks down the milk solids and makes the milk less creamy or less milkier. It mostly, if you boil your milk, the milk becomes more of the watery side. So 60-65 C, you get to the temperature. Anyways, your milk are already pasteurized, so you don't have to worry. And crossing the mark of 60-65 C kills any microorganisms. So try to bring the temperature of the milk to 65 C and then hold it there rather than taking it to 100 C and boiling. Fourth tip is try to find the right balance of water to coffee. It's usually 16:1, that is 16 milliliters to 1 gram of coffee. That is what usually the baristas in the coffee places use, but that depends on, again, the coffee style, the intensity of the coffee, and what kind of coffee bean you're using. So make sure that you play around with these balances and try to find the right sweet spot while you're making coffee. Don't depend on instant coffees because they're hated all around the world. They give you that emergency punch or of coffee, but try to find those. Most of the people hate instant coffee, including my wife, who is a coffee freak. Try to find the proper balance of coffee to water and then make your concoction at home, and then try your coffee that takes the coffee to a next level. That being said, thank you so much for your love towards the podcasts. I will be back with other episode or another exciting dish in my next episode. Till then, stay safe, share, comment and subscribe to M3 Media House. This is Tejaswi Yerabati signing off.